channel for those that are following along. So I should just mention, and again, Happy New Year, because I'm doing this in January. Hope everybody had a good holiday, all of that. How I read my cards is generally I'll do, this is also going to be with the tarot as well, but I wanted to just get a feel of what the major arcana would be in this read. So we also have, like I said, I pulled over cards here for the tarot that will be coming up here shortly. So let's just get right into it. And I have pulled clarifiers, so I will do the general energy meanings and then we'll tie it all together. So the bottom of the deck, guys, is if you have a question, it would be in regards to that, and it does speak to no. So I would say whatever this is, could have been all in the phrasing. So you might have said, is it going to be another week of, horribleness? And your answer would be no. However, then there might be a reason why there's a pause here. So what we're starting out with, again, is the oracle cards, and we'll get into the tarot. So I see here trusting the universe is important. So February, you're just being asked to take your hands off the wheel, surrender to the outcome, basically. We always want to control things because it just helps to feel like we are guiding things at the helm and we have a better gauge of where things might go. But in this particular instance, you're being asked just to kind of sit back, especially in terms of financially or with a particular relationship. The energy does favor that you have faith in this moment for February and just allow the universe to do what it needs to do. So following that, we also have the cards of signs and reminders. So there's something there that kind of speaks to a nudging of some sort. Again, there's something here just to be observant. There's going to be cues, maybe repeating numbers. Maybe there's going to be, something that happens around people that that, bring up symbols or something that helps you to see a pattern recognition of some sort. So again, this is going to be subtle cues coming in from the universe that are helping to guide you. So those small nudges matter in February. And the other part of it is here is again to listen deeply. So there's something here that you need to pick up on. So there's something in the month of February that is highlighting your intuition in a really strong way. So psychically, your gut instinct is pulling you toward that energetic awareness, something here that just makes you feel like you have to be in tune with it and able to learn or get past something here in the month of February. So we also have a healing energy here. There is that deep learning experience again with the listen deeply, but there's also a learning experience here that's coming in. So there's something here that also responds to life giving you a lesson, whether this is mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but you're in a process of integrating relational learning in regards to something possibly karmic is what it does suggest. And this may be something of a residual energy as well. You're all on different timelines. You're not all making decisions on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. So just, only if it resonates, adhere to some of the advice and the cards that are coming out here. But regardless, healing energy means there's support from unseen sources, angels, ancestors, whatever here. But you are also doing your own inner work. And especially emotionally and energetically, there is some kind of restoration that's occurring for you. And this could be in around mother, father, God, something like that parent-child relationship, anything like that, because this is divine guidance that's very, very, very strong in this period. So again, there's something here about a connection to a spiritual authority or some kind of unconditional love that supports decision making. Now, there is something here, like I said, that does feel like there's a bit of a heartbreak, and this could be around, again, the reminder is don't force outcomes, but there is something here. The main cards out were Five of Cups, and the Death card is actually the major arcana. So there is something here to shift on an emotional basis. And then with the Death card, there's also something here that is kind of turning over. Of course, there's clarifiers, and we'll get to those here in a minute. There is definitely a conflict, some kind of a heartbreak or something here that's going to disappoint you. And then there's a sense of, things balancing out or feeling more alone, that kind of thing with the Nine. So what I want to say here again is the major arcana was the Death card. You're in the depths of some kind of deep transition. But again, the Five of Cups indicates, there's something here about you focusing on what's gone rather than what's remaining. So there's something here of, energy going out toward a loss or a regret, focusing on things that are emotionally disappointing you. So there's a level of sadness. This could be possibly in around finances, because the two here, Two of Pentacles, indicates there's some sense of juggling activities, your time, your energy, your resources. Could be career delay or something that is like a relational tension of some sort with someone that you know. But there is definitely some level of loss or energy around, carrying around some kind of heavy past regret here. So there is a need to shift your focus to opportunities that are still available for you in this period, because the 5 does denote change of sorts here. And even though the 2 sort of balances things out in the the final scope of things, the energy is still carrying a past regret. So there's a need to shift your mindset to something that's more positive in terms of an opportunity or a change. Again, a challenge. It's you trying to be adaptable amidst a change of some sort in February. So it does feel like it could be like a little bit of an emotional, volatile energy that's going to require some level of, resilience. And so again, look at what you still have rather than what's been lost. That 2 of Pentacles is still in that energy of, also especially when it's followed up by the Death card, there's that energy of, needing to balance out. The theme is balance things out, be adaptable through this transition, because it's going to lead to a new beginning. So for sure, something is going to bring you into a level of happiness despite that ending or that transformation. So whatever the old way was that you were dealing with in terms of whether this is money or managing money or a relationship, whatever your old way of dealing with that energetically was, that's changing. So change is inevitable here. It's all over the cards. There's you having to shift and be flexible regardless. And like I say, it ends up on a positive with the 9 of Cups. So I feel like you make that transition. So you are able to release that stagnation and make the changes that are necessary, despite the fact that it feels uncomfortable, because that's what the duality is here with the 2 of Pentacles. There's that duality, that balance, that decision making. Then there's that transformation, closure energy. And again, it's a period of letting go to make space for some level of growth. Now, the good cards out here, despite there are some significant changes coming through for you in the month of February, the themes really are kind of in around, I would say, relationships or your emotions, because I do see emotional fulfillment, with this card. But again, it's sort of juxtaposed with the heartbreak or the disappointment card, which is followed up here with the 3 of Swords. So your relationships or your connection may trigger some bittersweet emotions, something like that. But it's also mixed with a certain level of pride and, even though there's worry, sadness, and some kind of, mixed emotions. And again, there could still be a certain level of strain emotionally and heartbreak with the 3 of Swords. But it still feels like it's a complicated emotional relationship regardless. So what I'm getting at, is that it's really a sense of changing your perspective, shifting your mindset. There is going to be, this could be with a younger person here as well. But again, there's something there that speaks Leo energy is what's coming through for me on that one. But I definitely feel like there's a sense of, in terms of finances, many wishes may partially fulfill here, but it carries an unexpected limitation or a lesson with it. So again, there's something here that kind of speaks to a completion with the Death card. Like I said, there's a completion, fulfillment, spiritual insight definitely coming through very much so in this reading, because of the level of, change cards. And we've got some 9s here and then the Death card. So these are conclusion cards. So it feels like you've come to some resolve with an issue. And again, it's more along the lines of, yes, I was heartbroken. You may still be in this space, but there is growth through the challenge. So advice, again, recognize your emotional rewards even if the disappointment lingers. So release the attachment to perfection or how you feel the outcome needs to look. Now we're getting into the Hanged Man, and this one is more along the lines of things being in suspension, changing your perspective, being patient. I feel like it's a time for you to pause, reassess some kind of new strategy here. Don't do anything impulsive. On a psychic level, it's, really observing rather than acting. So there's a hidden solution here, I feel, that's going to appear for you in the month of February. And again, there's more of a lot of like 12 and 3 energies, that kind of thing. So there's growth through the reflection, and then you're adapting to the situation. And that's why you've got the optimistic card of the sun here. You definitely see some kind of success, and there's a level of confidence and independence that's coming through in this read. So again, I feel in terms of career and money, there is more of a positive financial development that's possible. It may be likely tied to your skills or personal brand or something here that you are doing on an independent basis. But energetically, I feel like you're feeling a lot brighter. Your aura is stronger. Something is helping you to attract resources, that kind of thing. This is also that card of achievement. Not only is that the only one coming up here, but we have the Six of Wands. So there's also another card of achievement. And of course, the Nine of Pentacles. So I really feel like this is a period where you're going to get some validation for something that's going to come through in the month of February. Like it could be a raise, could be a bonus, or some kind of advancement in a particular area of your life. But energetically, it is going to allow your confidence to increase. So it does feel like that is quite promising for you. And again, the advice is accept support and recognition without diminishing yourself, without diminishing your role, because there's something here that you do have as a, even though you're kind of working through some negatives, I definitely feel like you have some really good, strong cards of a good foundation, like a really good balance. So expect an unexpected change here. It could be in around finances here with this card, because this is more of a sudden disruption. I want to say it's the clarifier anyway, though, so don't take it too to heart as any kind of major impact, because it feels like this could trigger something of a confrontation, or there could be a realization with someone that's close to you here as well. But it still feels like there's, introspection and spiritual kind of alignment despite all of this. So there is that unexpected change that's going to maybe ruffle the plans a bit or alter the plans in some way, whatever your initial kind of blueprint or plan was to follow through with. But I still feel like, you're restructuring for it. The shakeup clears away, and then there's all this growth. Now, I want to say, because I'm also seeing the Magician here, very strong card of manifestation, you're using leadership, vision, independence, mastery, all of those things. Because again, we had the Nine of Pentacles there. That's independence, that's mastery. There's a sense of, like I say, entrepreneurship or something that's coming through here that's going to lead or bring more long-term stability. Energetically, again, I feel like you're aligning with something. There's a lot more levels of independence here. And it's almost like a sudden level of recognition for something here as well. And a resource or something here that helps to build that up. Because when I see the cards of the King come out, that is a card of mastery. It's a more of a mature energy, but it's also my entrepreneurial card. So again, there's mastery and authority in something that is going to lead to a level of independence. And like I said, reward or completion. So you're leading with confidence, but I feel like you are still retaining your flexibility, going forward. Now, I also want to say, because the bottom of the deck was the Eight of Cups, this one really speaks to walking away from, emotional heaviness and moving towards your higher purpose, those kinds of things. But it's also a bit of an emotional detachment of some sort. So I feel like in terms of your relationships or finances, you are in that space of leaving situations that don't, that inhibit you in some way, or limits you, so that, because you're realizing it's kind of an outdated expectation. You can't go forward with an old model of things, because now you're in that space of consciously choosing to emotionally release it. So like I said, it feels like you're in that space. For February, it's a month of transformation and restructuring things. And again, there may be some kind of financial surprise of sorts. Sorry, financial surprise that requires some, sorry guys, flexibility. But I do feel like there is a level of recognition and reward here that's possible. So again, the old methods aren't working, or the assumptions aren't working. And so, sorry guys, got to take a drink of something here. But either way, this does to me, yay, okay. Either way, it just feels like it's a deliberate Wow, I don't know what's in the air, but wow. Anyway, it does feels like it's a deliberate manifestation. And again, leadership is key. Now, I would say, in terms of a significant relationship to you, there is some ups and downs here, of course, like I mentioned, kind of bittersweet moments. There is something here that kind of speaks to, waiting. There's a level of patience that's required in this situation. And I definitely feel like a sudden realization or something may occur, which you need to walk away from that unhealthy dynamic. But like I said, there's trust, there's patience, there's more observation energy, more healing energy. So just again, pay attention to the signs and the subtle nudges, because I think that's where you're going to get your answer from about how to go forward, because you are in that space of feeling some level of emotional heaviness. That's starting out with the Five of Cups. So there's an emotional heaviness probably at the beginning of February, but you are moving toward more clarity and independence and all of that. So like I say, trust the process, because overall there's more good cards here than any energetically than there is anything. So again, this is more, it's an energy read, so you can always change energy, you can always change your outcomes. This is just what's sort of coming in on just as far as what's surrounding you and impacting you. It doesn't mean your decisions are not your, you can still have free will, all of that. So it's not predictions, but I do feel you can't force the outcomes in this process. It's more about observe, don't react, use your intuition, your insight, especially with finances and relationship decisions, because that seems to be primary in this month. Embrace, whatever change is necessary, because there is going to be a transition for sure. The old methods are going to fail, so you have to move toward the level of change that's coming in. There's also something here about using your skills and leadership. Like I said, Magician, King of Wands, that's energy used wisely. And again, just release what no longer is, whatever's holding you back emotionally, financially, relationally, in those three spheres, I would say that's where you are. It's like an emotional clearing of sorts. So, and I feel heavily spiritual discernment in the spirit of this of February. So again, your personal power is increasing, especially in creating financial stability and leading with vision. That's the main energy there. But that is what I have for you for the month of February. I will do another one here for March coming up, just because I'm trying to think ahead with some of the, and I'll do some of the other signs. I know I don't do them as frequently, but keep moving forward, guys. That's what I have for you for the month of February. And until the next read, it's not how good you are, it's how good you want to be.